extremely well. This Monday evening, the 23rd. I don't know why I looked at my watch then. I should know the date. So look, I hope you guys are doing extremely well. This is the match reaction for the Everton game, and we will go through the game. Have I had time to digest the game? Probably not as much as I would like. But look, I've got some. I do have some good and some bad things to say about the game. Man United Forever says hi. Hello, I hope you're doing extremely well. Scott says shit game taken a well taken goal by Chesco. So look, I'm probably not going to do the show that people think I'm going to do tonight. Look, negative stuff that we will get into, but first of all, I've got to say, look, get into this amazing community. Be as respectful as you can to the community, to yourselves, to me. Otherwise, the ban hammer comes out. We don't like to do it, but we absolutely will. So, look, it's not something that we like to do, but we absolutely will do it. And second of all, look, I'm not a dictator of this chat. I will read out your chats and comments. So, look, I want this show to be driven by you guys tonight. So this is a combination of a late show, which we do, and a reaction. So I want this to be your show tonight. Now I will come in. One thing I wanted to say tonight really is the biggest red flag for me tonight. And look, Sky is 100% right. Okay, 3 points is 3 points. Look, there is. We can talk about the performance on it, because I really think the performance is key for me, and the reason why I say performance is key is because if our performance level dips, then it breeds into this team. Now look, we beat a low block team, so there are positives tonight that I do want to bring in. Look, was the game good? No. It took a Chesco goal, but I do want to focus on some of the positives tonight, because look, we did get 3 points, and it was an abjectly terrible game. I thought Everton were unlucky not to get a point, and at least a point, but we got 3 points. So the first thing really I wanted to say, look, this is a very, very inconsistent season. I don't think, as much as I don't think we've played well in the last two games, the whole Premier League pretty much is playing the exact same way. So I think for me, as much as I don't think that we played great in the last two games, the positive I want to pull out of this tonight is the fact that everybody is not playing well. The only two teams that I think you could argue are playing well would be City, are playing well at the moment, Arsenal, but even then, they're not playing great. So I think this is a very, 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 very inconsistent season. I don't think the quality is there this season either. So I do think that this is a very, very up and down season. So I think the problem is that this fan base, and the fan base think that I think we should be doing better than what we are. I've seen this team the whole of the season, and this is reminiscent of everything that we've seen this season. So the positive for me is that this season, whilst yes, the game was awful, I think everybody else is dropping points. However, Paul James Owens, legend of the channel. I'll always say this: big up to the fans who go to the games. You are legends. A fan is a fan is a fan, but I do always give a special mention to people that go to the games, right? So Paul was coming back from the game. Christ, that was dross, but 3 points. Paul and Paul's right. We can't hide away from the fact that tonight this is not good enough. People have aspirations about finishing in the top three. Now, people have come on here and saying that we're going to win the league. Are you kidding me? As much as Arsenal haven't been, as much as Arsenal, I think, have been clumsy. I think it's probably a good word to say. We are nowhere near the levels of an Arsenal. We are nowhere near the levels of a City. And as much as we beat those two, we are nowhere near those teams. So I think tonight I will go through the chats and then we can talk about the game. But look, tonight that wasn't great. So let's get through the chats. Liam says, tough game, but a great 3 points. The type of game we struggled to grind out a win in the last few years. Respect for Michael Carrick. Really enjoy watching United getting back on track, and I'm an Arsenal fan, mate. Didn't see no positive things other than Chesco and Lammens. Sky says man of the match, Lammens, and back to the STJ. Honestly, Lammens better than Raya. Respect. These corners are disgusting. Arsenal really have started something with this. Lammens the best goalkeeper in the Premier League. Lammens has been outstanding. All right, Sky. Let's have a little look. So Jenny says, I'm begging for mercy. Please don't tell me that you're going to moan about United tonight. Jenny, I've started off the show on a positive note, right? If you think I'm going to let them get away with that tonight, look, there are positives tonight. There are positives, but Jenny, you can't ask this fan base. You can't ask me to let that slide tonight. Look, I've started off the show in a positive way. Look, there are positives to take out of this game. Chesco, Lammens. Let's talk about Lammens. Right, let's talk about Lammens. Right, Lammens. What a fucking signing he is. And tonight people may go, well, what's the big deal? Those corners, right, were absolutely evil. Were evil tonight. And he's commanding his box. He comes out, he catches them, he punches them. He commands his box. When he has to make a save, he makes a save. He's getting better and better and better. Like tonight, I thought if that was a Nana tonight or a Biinda, we lose that match tonight. Lammens tonight, that was a performance of a senior pro. That was a performance of a goalkeeper who is ahead of the game. This is a goalkeeper that played in the Belgian league. This is a goalkeeper that many people were saying that a Martinez from Aston Villa should have been signed over this keeper. I was saying this along with somebody else who's not on the channel at the moment. We were talking about Lammens and we should have signed him. What a signing he is. Look, the positive tonight. I'm going to see the positives tonight, but Jenny, I am going to go through the game, and this is a match reaction, right? I am reacting to that match. If you're expecting me to sit here tonight, and many of you go, "Oh, a great game, fantastic game." If we take that performance into another game, we lose. This is what happened at the start of the season. This is what happened the mid-season as well. But I am going to start off with the positives. Lammens tonight, what a performance. And you don't have to make these world-class saves. You don't have to be turning the ball around the corner. You don't have to be pulling up the ball out of the top corner. We have not had a goalkeeper like this in a very, very long time. He does remind me of a Courtois. He does remind me of a Schmeichel type. And I'm not suggesting he's going to be good, but he's got a proper goalkeeper frame. He's very, very broad. He's very, very agile. He gets down. He commands his box. And this is a guy that was criticised. I mean, 20 million. I mean, he's already worth 40. I think he's what a fantastic signing. And look, whoever agreed that signing needs to have a pat on the back, because I think what a fantastic signing. I would argue many of you hopefully would feel the same way, that Lammens for me is probably one of the signings of the season. I think for us at least. You can argue, but I think right now Lammens for me, I think I would give him the player of the season. I think he's just a fantastic season. So look, the positives for me are he is a fantastic player. Now, Chesco, we all said it. We all said it. The thumbnail on the preview of the match that we did was Chesco has to start. Many of you intelligent people on this channel, people like Scott, people like SDJ, people like Dino, many of us have been saying on this channel, you need to give Chesco a start. When people were calling Chesco out, saying, oh, he's crap, he's awful, he's a flop, we believed in Chesco. And not because necessarily we know, but you can just tell. And is Chesco perfect? No. But in a game such as this, when you're playing a low block, and most of us have been watching this team for years and years and years. I've been watching this team for nearly 40 years, right? And it's so obvious how we should have played. Now, somebody argued, which you can agree with this or not, that as long as you bring in a striker at a certain point, it doesn't really matter because he scores a goal. I think if you bring Chesco, if you start a Chesco, that game is a different game. And again, Chesco, what a positive tonight. You know, yes, he could have scored again. Should he have scored again? I think another season or two in the Premier League, and I think he scores 2 goals tonight. So I thought Chesco was fantastic tonight. And look, the other positive for me is that we are winning games. You know, we have won 5 of the last 6. And, you know, it's fantastic. I would never have thought in the last, if you'd have asked me from when Amorim got sacked where this team would we have won 6 of the last 7 games? No. Fantastic. But look, and now we have to turn to the game, and we've got to turn to what this team is. Now, look, before we start, you know, many of you will not agree with me on this one, but a lot of you have been saying time and time again, this team is inconsistent. This team is light switch FC. This team can put on a run of games, and look, this team is not back. This team is, and Carrick, right? Carrick, what is he supposed to do? You know, I'm gonna slightly, I'm gonna be positive on the positive things and give credit where the credit is due. What is Carrick supposed to do? Do I want Carrick as this coach? No. Is Carrick the answer? No. Is Carrick doing the best he can? Yes. You know, I think Carrick is doing a fantastic job. Don't get confused that I think Carrick should be the coach or Carrick is this tactical brain. He's shown that he is not. You know, Carrick had 2 weeks along with Steve Holland, Woodgate, along with this crack team of coaches and players and players in the team. They've had 2 weeks, and in 2 weeks they couldn't come up with a plan to beat a low block. It's not good enough. This game tells me tonight that Carrick is not ready for this job. You know, even if we'd have had the same game tonight, but we were putting in crosses into the box. Everton had 10 corners. At the end of the game, we were the low block team and they were putting crosses into the box. They were showing us how you try to break down a low block team. If they have had a striker tonight, they would have scored 10 corners tonight. And look, Maguire, I thought, played reasonably well tonight. Look, this was the perfect game for him tonight. So, the positives are that we are winning games. Carrick is doing the best that he can, but this is not perfect. So look, let's go on to the game. And sadly tonight there are plenty of things that we need to talk about. So let me get through the chat and then we can talk about the game. When only 2 outfield players actually tried like hell, we are deep shit. Props to Ahmad and Chesco for saving our collective arses again. Today wasn't amazing, but Carrick isn't beaten in 6 of 6. Also, I'm just happy that we don't have to deal with Amarin anymore, says Johnny. Paul says that fans are turning already about the way United have been playing. United are negative or play with a fear in their minds. David says, yo, JB. David, I hope you're doing extremely well, buddy. Can't carry on riding the waves. We need a manager like Klopp and with management of the game. And I agree with you. And this is Paul. This is where I wanted to start tonight. Michael Carrick, I'm sorry. The tactics wise are not there. He is playing Moments FC. He is what Carrick has done. And look, I respect the 6, the 5 wins, the 1 draw, right? But the last 2 games haven't been good. Carrick is letting the players dictate how they play. And this is how this is Light Switch FC. This is Moments. Bruno Fernandez runs this team, and you can see that. You can see the way that these players switch off. Today, they had no answer. They couldn't break down the low block again. They were trying to pass through the middle. I don't understand, given 2 weeks off nearly, how they can't come up with a plan with these front players. It's not as if, people are talking about Bruno, right? Ballon d'Or, right? Look, however you feel on Fernandez, I am not going to talk about your opinion, right? Because your opinion is yours, and I'm not going to come back on that opinion. I just don't see what the fuss is with Bruno Fernandez at present. He's inconsistent. The guy needs space and time, but these are the games that we need him in. It's okay to have a worldie against Spurs with 10 men. It's okay to have a worldie against an Arsenal, a City. That's fine. But what about the rest of the games? These are the games that we need him in. The Grimsby game, West Ham game, the Toffees game, both games. These are the games where we need him to be consistent. And Michael Carrick, to me, it is abundantly clear. This is Player FC. He's making the players happy. He is the players' mate. He plays the players in the correct positions, and he says, "You go for it." And you can absolutely tell that tonight, because there is no tactical switch tonight. It is the same team. It is the same counter attack. He might tweak it, but it is the same team over and over again. And I get it. It has won him games, but this is not going to take him through into the end of the season. And look, do I think that we can finish in this top 5? I do. But the reason I think that we can finish in this top 5 is not because we're so good. It's because everybody else is inconsistent. And for that reason, I do think that we can stay in this top 5 race. I think if we do, I think this top 5 is going to be abjectly probably the worst Champions League 5 that we've had. So look, if for example, Chelsea find consistency, if Liverpool find consistency, Brentford find consistency, we need to keep up there as well. Made a huge carry on riding the waves. We need a manager like Klopp. I do agree. It made a huge save to keep us in the game. Rock solid. Our best sign for some years. Carrick, have you seen the table since he? Look, Jenny. As I've just explained, Jenny. I am not disputing, and the positives are what Carrick has done. The last two games haven't been good, Jenny, and this game tonight wasn't good. Look, you can talk to me about tables, right? But if you look at this table, and if you look at typically the top 5, this season is awful. In any other season, we are nowhere near the top 5 or top 6. But the positive there, it doesn't really matter. Look, Carrick is an okay coach, but if you're suggesting that this is to do with Michael Carrick and the way that he plays, Jenny, I disagree with you. I do. Chesco needs to be playing more time. Scott says Lammens is the best signing all day long. I back Lammens from the get-go. Correct me if I'm wrong, Scott. I can't remember who was on the channel at the time, Scott. But yes, I think you were one as well. Happy Monday. Thought it would be a draw. Happy 1-0. Wave cutter JB. We need top 3 to. We need the top 3 to start to draw. Wave. I am not entering into a look, mate. I keep saying this. We need to take each game as they come. And I am taking each game. As I said in the previous, I don't care right now. I do care. But all I think about is each game. All I care about is each game and getting the 3 points. Today was an attrition. Today was a very, very hard watch. We got 3 points. So, mate, to even suggest that we're anywhere near a title, mate, is we are nowhere near it. Mate, we are. If United, as Wave says in there, if United went on to win the league this season, it would be, in my opinion, it would be one of the worst leagues, one of the worst seasons this Premier League has ever seen. We should be nowhere near a title. So look, wait, if City, look, for us to win a league, Arsenal are going to have to drop 4 games and they're going to have to collapse. City are going to have to collapse as well. Villa are going to have to collapse. So look, mate, as much as I respect the opinion and I encourage the opinions on here, we're nowhere near a title. Playing Happy House after this win. What I am waiting until I'm gonna go for the chat and then we're gonna go for the game. Evening chat from Swansea, Paul, Swansea Villa, legend, my friend. Hope you're doing extremely well, buddy. Ahmad also worked his ass off trying to make something happen, impress me and embarrass the so-called the better players. You said that already. Michael Carrick, have you seen? Yeah. Shiny, happy people having fun tonight. Big up anyone critical of this performance is no friend of Carrick. That was a terrible advert for the Premier League. I'm going to give you my opinion. Look, if you've listened to me, I've been positive about everything outside of this game. I need to address this game tonight. Hi, bro, from India. I hope you're doing extremely well. Men on the screen, have you saw Scott's put? Oh my god, I just want to know if he's been drinking something. Chesco has that spark. something that just sings, and he's learning. The boy's going to be a giant for us. I do agree. United win, well happy. Liam says, any update on Brian injury? Looks like he may have been carrying a knock for a while. This nothing at the moment, and I don't think we will hear anything on him probably for a couple of days. He hasn't looked right. I don't think he's looked quite right I don't think he's looked right. I just think that he's just not firing. If there is something not right, and that scares me. That scares me. Jenny says, have you sort of United goal tonight? It was a thing of beauty. If it was Barcelona, everyone would be going mad. Look, I'm going to get into the match. The goal was a fantastic goal. But look, we can't pretend tonight that this is going to be a reaction of a good match. But look, it is not all doom and gloom tonight. Exactly 2 weeks, and not only were we tactically naive, we were leggy and slow, second to the ball. And oh my God, shockingly bad into the tackle. We still need a Giggsy on the left. Usman says, United right now are a counter-attacking team. They don't know how to control games. Agreed completely. We are counter-attack FC. This is Ollie ball. We are counter-attack. It doesn't matter what we play. Counter-attack FC. I don't care about the team. I don't care about the table. The passing was sloppy. It was awful. Rice will never be equal to Bruno. Bruno looks jaded. He does. Ismail says, less games will make rusty with no game rhythm. As much as I semi-agree with that, I agree with the rhythm. What I don't agree with is that how can we look tired? I understand what you're saying, but how can they look tired? Right? And I'll give you an example. Right? I'm gonna run 100k. Right? So at the moment, I'm going for a run like every single day. Right? I'll go for a run, and then I'll basically will then have a week off. Right? So I run quite hard for 3 weeks, then I have a week's break, and then I go at it again, right? I'm 43 years old. Well, I'm 42 years old, right? I'm telling you now, right? I have a week off. The next week, I am firing, right? I am absolutely firing. And I'm pretty good at running. I'm pretty fast. I work my ass off. I don't understand how, and I know it's not the same thing, but the point is that having a week off, there is no way that they should be leggy. There is no way that they should be tired. They are athletes. They are more athletes than me, younger than me. But I guarantee you, I have a week off, and the next week I am firing, and I'll be firing for the next 3 weeks. So I don't understand, given 2 weeks, how this team, and I'm just talking about an athletic perspective. I'm talking about a physical perspective, how they can be second to a ball. There is no tactics in this world that makes a player second to the ball. You can't train pace, you can't train the fitness, you can't train passion, you can't train that desire to win, and that is what we lacked tonight. Usman says sub for Mbeumo to bring on Maz was negative. Exactly. Personally, I think that I don't know what to think about Bruno. Should he stay or should he go? I do think that. Black Prince says, is Arsenal going to win the title race? I think they will. I think they will. I think Arsenal, look, I think Arsenal will just have enough. And I do think it. I do think Arsenal will have enough to win the league. All I'm going to say tonight, it is Arsenal's to throw away. SGS says we'll get top 5 because others are dropping points. I don't see this team as it stands doing great things. I just don't. STJ, this team next season, is the same team playing like we are now. Liverpool will be back next season. Chelsea, who knows? Villa, I think, will again be good. Arsenal are going to be better. City are going to be good as well. This team, as it stands, are not good enough. Look, many of you guys tonight, or many people, want to win the Premier League. I demand we win the Premier League every single season, not because I'm stupid, but because there are standards. I want us to progress. I want this team to progress. From finishing 15th last season to where we are now I never thought it. But how do we progress from here with these players? We're not going to have another season the same as this for another 5 to 6, 7 years, right? We've been fortunate this season to play in an inconsistent league. It doesn't matter. I'm not trying to put it down, but the facts are we're in a very, very inconsistent season this season. And look, I will grab it with the both hands. But my opinion here is great. If we finish third, which look, from this position, we can do, but next season is not going to be the same as this. How do we transition from this season to next? Let's have a little look, see what we're saying. We need more control in the midfield. And Moss, I agree with you, buddy. I agree with you completely. Mohammed said, very poor performance tonight. Only positive is the solid and compact structure. The only good thing about tonight's game was that Lenny Yoro looks good where he was played tonight. 22 years since Arsenal didn't bottle and actually won the Prem and Champions League. You're having a laugh. Noel says, you fans, I never look. No. I don't know how much of the show you've listened to. I'm finding positivity tonight out of different things, right? I'm happy that we've won. It was not a solid win, no. The worry for me, I've seen this before. If you go back to the part of the season where we won 2 games and then the performances got worse and worse and worse and worse, we can't have that happen now. And the reason why performances are key is because if we play like this for the rest of the season, I want us to win. I'm trying to be positive and pragmatic tonight. But the facts are, no, if we play like this for the rest of the season, we're going to get beat, and we're going to get beat more than once. So it's really important, not only do we win, look, Everton had 10 corners. Everton put crosses into the box. We are supposedly the informed team. We are supposedly the better team. What concerns me tonight, and look, we won, fantastic win. But what concerns me tonight is the next game. We can't beat a low block. The reason why we won tonight, and again, I keep saying this, Moments FC. That is what we are. I'll take it. I'll take it tonight. But this is not. And look, I will say this. I'm focused on the next game, but I still have a thought of how can we progress this. This is fine. for now. But if you guys want to win a league, and I'm talking to you people that want to win a league, if you want to win the league, and we should be positive tonight, and we want to win the league, and look, if we get into the Champions League, and you guys want to get into the Champions League, and you want to progress, and you want to challenge for the title, which I think we are years and years off, can you honestly tell me that this is a title-winning team? Can you tell me that this team will go deep into the Champions League? And my answer is no. So as much as, look, I'm pleased with the win tonight. Did we deserve the win tonight? You could argue yes. I don't think we do tonight. But the important thing is that we won. But we've got to think about the future. This tonight is not good enough. Katie says you're GG. I don't know what that is. Beef Wellington. Glory to Man United, says Katie. Hello, Katie. Do you give Carrick the job going forward? Usman, no. Not based on what I've seen tonight. No. I think, Usman, we have to wait until the end of the season. Could these two games, we won tonight. I thought we played absolutely disgraceful tonight. West Ham, we got a draw. We played disgraceful tonight. Just like we won the 4 games, just like we've drawn and won. And I'm talking about the performances. It could equally be that Carrick can now lift this team and we go on another run. But Usman, we've got to wait until the end of the season. Carrick is going to go nowhere, right? There is nothing to me that says we've got to give him the job now. Doesn't mean to say at the end of the season, if he gets us into the top 3, you've got to look at it. You've got to. But not for now. I'm of the opinion that for me, Carrick, I've just not seen enough. I think he is living on the moments FC. I don't think the tactics are there. He just plays counter attack. Whether that's because he doesn't have the players, whether or not the players are not good enough, we don't know. So I think for me, we need to just wait until the end of the season. The problem, I think, at present with this fan base is that we're so starved for wins that we're almost looking too far ahead, which we can't do. People are behaving like we've already qualified for the Champions League. We haven't. Let's get there first. Let us get there first, because don't forget, we are an injury away from this season imploding. So let's get to the end of the season, see where we are, and if Carrick is the guy, he's the guy. But I think we need to wait. Scrap him in tonight, but 3 points in the bag. Look, Carlos, agree. Good result, awful game, 3 points. I agree with you. Absolutely agree with you. Think Jenny from the block has been drinking. Precious Sammy says, what a goal. And look, positivity. We are moments. Well, we are moments, a team. We know this, right? But of the moments, and this for me is one of the most frustrating things about this team. This is the most frustrating thing about this team and certain players, right? Bruno Fernandez, on his day, can be world class. Right? The guy has got 12 assists this season, and I don't think he's had a good season. The guy can do world class things. The guy can do things that are just amazing, but he doesn't do them every single game. As a team, we show glimpses. We show these glimpses of what this team can do. And that goal tonight, what a fantastic goal. And I think somebody said it, if this was a Barcelona or this was a PSG, you'd be raving about that goal. What a goal that was tonight. But we need more than that. We need that to happen 2 or 3 times a game. We also need to adapt in game as well. Like Carrick should have adapted quicker. I like the fact that Carrick didn't wait until 82nd minute. Carrick, I think, made the change on 56. I like that. I thought Carrick, when he changed it, I like the fact from that perspective that he changed it and he's not afraid to change it. I thought that was great. But that goal, we need to see that goal time and time again. In fact, I would much rather see Chesco score from 5 yards out. I would much, and look, I know people want top corner worldies. I want to see Chesco in that box scoring goals from 5 yards out. More of those goals, yes, please, because that is the type of play, that is the type of goals that win you leagues. And I think people don't understand that. Shooting from 25 yards is out of frustration. Getting the ball into the box and having a chance, and then you get the odd goal from outside of the box, great. But I want to see crosses into the box. I want to see those like headed goals. I want to see easy goals. Across all fan bases tonight, we all agree we were awful, but 3 points is 3 points. Agree with you completely. Happy with the 3 points, but horrified with the performance. Ugly or not, big 3 points. I do agree. And look, this could be the turning point. The reason why tonight I'm so chilled tonight is because we've seen this the whole season. I am not surprised by the way that we played tonight. But the difference for me is that we're scoring goals. The difference is that we are beating these teams whether we deserve to beat them or not. It literally is like we're trying to get over the line. The sad thing for me is that we've still got another 10 games to go. So JB said he runs hard. It's true, mate. I do. Scott, I do. I run hard, mate. I do run extremely hard. The bigger issue to me is that the 2 matches in a row we've been awful. And STJ, this is the point that I'm trying to make tonight. Is we've seen this before. The performances dip, and why people miss that is because sometimes a win can mask. Would you rather take a scrappy low performance win like we have tonight and go on and lose the next 4, or would you rather the last 2 games you get a draw and another draw, but we're playing fantastic stuff, and then you go on and win the next 4? We need a balance, and we don't have the balance. We either play poorly and win, or we play average and draw, and then we go on a losing streak. So Carrick needs to find the balance between performance to get these players up and to win games. We need to move on from this. I'm thinking now we get 3rd. It's up to us. JB can do the Kessel run. JB can do the Kessel run in less than 12 parsecs. Mate, that's a cracking Star Wars reference there, buddy. Henderson, you're cracking me up. I love it. Ramsey Sport says, I really love my club called United. And look, you should do, I'm tonight, I'm trying not to go into these players. I will get into the game, and we can talk about the game for a bit as well. But a win is a win, right? Let's have a little look. It's Arsenal's to bottle. Arsenal have City and Chelsea to play yet. Glory, man. United have a drink on me. Good evening, JB. Got back from the pub on a rainy night. Once again, a late Chesco goal gets us the point. We should have started him. Simon, agree, buddy. And Good evening, Stewie. As Sim says, it was always going to be tough game. We won today without playing well. Sometimes you've got to find a way to win without playing well. I've seen, Stewie, agree. I completely agree, and this is why I started on a positive note tonight, Stewie. And the reason why it's important to acknowledge the positivity tonight, as much as that game was crap, it's not just us playing this way. Liverpool scraped a win. Chelsea drew, and Chelsea haven't been great. Like everybody, for me, this season is about who is the best of a bad bunch. It is gonna be who can get the most points. And what I mean is that despite playing badly in an inconsistent season, it's who's going to be, even when you're playing shit, who's going to get the most consistent points. Damn, you're catching us, UTV, says Kieran. Kieran, mate, I hope you're doing extremely well, buddy. Mate, Kieran, we are nowhere near you, buddy. Great comment, Stu. Yeah, he did. The Champions League is our main goal right now, and under Carrick, we should get it, says Simon. Everton have now gone 7 home games without a win. They couldn't score for Toffee tonight, Simon. I love it. Everton have conceded less goals this season than United. Everton's defensive shape make the game muddy and physical. And this is what I mean. There is no easy game in the Premier League. I think what concerns me the most is their performances. And when we've seen those drop this season, this is when we go on a losing streak. And look, I've got PTSD over the fact that when we play like this, we go on to lose games. And this is what but again, I think you're right. We are playing. We've not played great in the last 2 games. But what pleases me is that we're finding a way. But I am going to go. I will go through a game. Henderson says, "I'm not a violent person, but Pickford. Can't wait until this the quad is reached for us again next season. I want the League Cup, the FA Cup, the Champions League, the Premier League." Henderson, Pickford is supposed to be England's keeper. All we need are 2 quality midfielders, and we've got enough to compete for the title. Stewie, mate, look, I respect the view. I'm going to have to respectfully disagree. This is my view. Many of you would not agree with me on this. Adalo needs to go. Luke Shaw needs to go. Ugarte needs to go. Casemiro is gone. I'm going to argue Fernandez, I think, needs to go. Xerxes needs to go as well. I think we need at least 6 players. I do. I must admit, Pickford has that Mr. Slappy face. Manchester is blue. Look, mate, look. I've got nothing to say, really. I mean, there is nothing to say to you. The only thing that I can say is that City are not going to win the league, and we slapped you. So, it's not blue, is it? Even a point would have got us into the top 4. The Jam says, "Hi, hello. Who is your top coaching candidate?" says Stewie. Now, look, Stewie, this is going to have to be based on fact, right? So the facts are we're not going to go and get an Emery, an Eddie Howe. We're not going to go and get an Ancelotti. Tuchel is now out. Enrique is out. So realistically, we're only going for cheap. Pochettino, a Glasner, De Zerbi, Carrick. If Carrick gets us into the top 3, out of every coach that's out there, I would rather give it to Carrick. Not because I think long term he is the guy, but Glasner for me, no. I think Glasner has talked himself out of the job. Arola, possibly. I don't know if we could get him for cheap. De Zerbi, no, thank you. Pochettino, no. Southgate, no. So the only person in that instance, if we could get an Enrique, I would go for him. Xavi, no. But Enrique for me would probably be the one, or an Emery. We're not going to get those two. And I would much rather Carrick for now until we can get a world-class coach. And look, maybe then Carrick gets that experience. But if you're asking me, who would I get? Enrique. But those guys, they just aren't there. So I think for me, if Carrick gets the top 3, I think we probably need to stick with him. I don't agree with it, but I don't really see what else that this club can do. Mike P says Carrick is doing a great job. Could you see him winning us the Champions League or the Premier League? Look, Mikey, at this moment in time, I'm going to say no. Michael Carrick is doing a good job. I don't disagree. I think Carrick is coming to this club. I don't think his tactics are there. I don't think he's got any. Now, you could argue, does he need players to implement it? Yes. For me, Carrick is just not. It's just not the guy. Look, Mike P, I respect the view. Carrick is not winning us the Champions League or the Premier League. But we don't know that. And that's the problem, is that we don't know that. I would much rather go and get the coach that I want is an experienced coach who's potentially won a league, who's been into the Champions League, who is used to managing players in terms of big stars. But these coaches don't want to come. So I think we're going to be in a situation where I think, unless this club has fooled us all, I think Carrick is going to be the guy. Could Carrick win us the Champions League? It's not as simple as that, mate. I don't think this team is capable. I don't think we're going to get the players that I think we're going to get. If you give Carrick 6 signings, who knows? But Carrick is not going to get that. And I just think right now, for where he is, I just don't think he's there. Yeah, I just don't. We basically played the same against West Ham. I agree with you completely. There are some good Manchester United players I've noticed compared to you before. Positives tonight: Lammens, brilliant. Ahmed, fantastic. Chesco, enough said. Negatives, everything else. Declan says United won but lack the quality. Carrick steady, not long-term elite. Liverpool kick on. Chelsea improve. When Casemiro goes, who leads? We're years off the title charge. This team isn't built. Declan, I couldn't agree more with you, buddy. Declan, I think you are spot on, mate. I think you're spot on. Imagine if we still had a Nana in goal, that match would have been lost. Yeah, I said that tonight, mate. Completely agree. Chesco hasn't started since he came back from his injury. Carrick is treating Chesco as a very young police dog. Easy boy, watch your peers. Your time will come. Good evening, bye-bye. Good evening and bye-bye. Catch up with the chat. Great chat. Big up UDC, going from strength to strength. Thanks, buddy. Think the French guy just said he's choking on a baguette called an ambulance. As a fan base, we've been so poor post-Fergie. We now celebrate mediocrity. One win and we talk ourselves into progress. The standards have dropped, and we've let them do not want to be living in the past. Look, Declan, mate, I agree with you so much. I really look, Declan, you, mate. It's like you're in. Look, agree with you. Agree with you. We win five. Well, we win five of the last six, and people are talking about the title. Bruno Fernandez has one good game, two, and people are talking about the Ballon d'Or. Agree. We need better midfielders to control the game and the tempo. Next game won't be for at least 2 weeks because of the FA Cup games. Carrick has got a 16 of 18 points. I agree with you. Look, right now, if we play like this all season, which we sort of have done, look, I am prepared. I am prepared. It doesn't surprise me. I think some fans, the reason why they flip-flop and they take it hard is because they've almost forgotten the first half. I think Carrick is doing a fantastic job. I do. I really, really do. But this is not going to be easy. If Carrick does well for us, the world is his oyster. I see more game from a... this is such a great point, but who is the better from a bad bunch? That's the perfect summary of the season. Good first 10 minutes, then just downhill, and it was a bit crap. Have a little look. Would you keep Maguire or let him go too? I would keep Maguire. That I wouldn't keep him. So there is a rhetoric that's gone round the fan base that the reason why you keep him is because he's come through adversity, blah 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 blah. No, that is a pile of shit. The reason why I would keep him is because we need experience. I said, look, these, and when I say experience, I'm not talking about experience because he's won a title. I'm not talking about that experience. I'm talking about we need somebody there who can teach these young lads stuff. And whether or not Maguire is, I still don't think, you can win a league. We can't get rid of every senior pro. I still think Maguire, look, tonight in those games, Maguire can offer a lot. It depends on how we're going to play. I would give Maguire a year's extension. What I would do is I'd go back. Giggsy did it for years. Scholesy did it for years. Give him a year's deal. And then, I'm sure Maguire is not going to sniff at a year's deal. So what I would do is I would keep him, give him a year's contract. If we can move on those 7 or 8 players, then we have a chance at a solid squad next season. Bring in some academy players too for depth and inevitable injuries. So I guess we are Arsenal then. Corners are so hot right now. We sure as hell don't want Igor Tudor either. He can't hold down a job. Would you take a punt on Company? Interesting. I don't think it matters because unless we get players, I genuinely don't think it matters. You can put that. I don't think it matters. I don't think it depends on who we're going to sign. If we're going to keep Luke Shaw and Dallo for next season, it doesn't matter to me because it's not just. I think sometimes we're all blind. No one's talking about these players. No one's talking about these players right now. Look, it doesn't matter. The combination of these players aren't right. So unless we get players in that are right, it doesn't matter. If you bring in Pep, let's give you an example. If you bring in Klopp or you bringing Pep to this team, they are going to want to change the whole team. It doesn't matter who you get. If we're going to sign 5 players, fine. Think outside the box. But unless we get rid and sign at least 6 and get rid of 5, for me, I don't care. If your back 4 next season is a Dalot, a Luke Shaw, a Maguire, a Martinez, look, it's not Martinez the player, it is what he's in, right? If you think that's going to win you a Premier League, no. Lammens could be our best signing of the summer, maybe captain one day. I agree with you. Ted Lasso. I've been watching Ted Lasso. Brilliant. Absolute fantastic. I worry for us, we are dismissing Carrick already. Lots of great coaches started off as players. It's true. It's true. It is true. It is true. It is true. Yusuf says hi. DJ says, mark my words, Carrick will be a great manager one day. I'm not going to disagree with that. He could well be. I don't know. It's too early to tell. I think he's got the temperament. I do. I just don't know. But look, mate, I hope you're right. I would look, if this was an ideal world, Carrick would win a league. Carrick would be here for the next 25 years, right? But what people forget, and I'm going to just go back a bit, people think that Fergie, for example, just got plucked out of a team and came into our club and become the best of all time, right? Fergie was given a chance, but Fergie won the league with an Aberdeen, which at the time was incredible. He beat Madrid in the Super Cup, European Super Cup. He then managed Scotland as well with Jock Stein. Now look, Scotland, were okay. Jock Stein died in the middle of a match, and Fergie Fergie had already had that experience, and yes, he got given time, but Fergie had already had that experience. Carrick doesn't have that experience. Also, people can cite Pep and say, Pep was a new manager, but if you look at the side that Pep came into the Spanish league, which is about as competitive as a I don't know, not competitive, and you look at what he did. So I don't think it is the same thing. But look, could Carrick be the next guy? Possibly. But I think he's too experienced. And look, if we are professing to be the best of the best, we need to go and get the best. We need to go and get winners. We need to go and get managers that have proved themselves. And look, maybe Carrick goes away, learns his trade, and comes back. But we can't be work experience FC. We can't be. That Palace game is going to be horrible. They may have a new manager, so we'll be up for impressing. And I worry we will see the same we saw tonight. And in that case, we're in trouble. Well, apparently Southgate is looking at the Palace job. Liam says we can't afford to lose Maguire and Casemiro. Agreed. Hi from Russia, and I'm also a United fan. What do you think about the match? I thought the match today, I thought we were awful. I've been positive as I can be, but I thought the match was awful. But we won and we were shite. Same old. Lammens was immense. Chesco's on fire. Says badass. Carrick has the traits to become a very good manager. Calm, intelligent, respected, but United cannot the place he learns on the job. We've seen this before, and we don't want Ollie 2.0. Agree with you completely. Carrick is not the guy who looks scared. Thank you for expressing your point of view. Food for thought. So look, let's get through the game. I've been positive tonight, but look, we've got to talk about the game. We've got to talk about the game tonight. So look, let's talk about the game. Positive from the step. In Leeds simply refer to as scum. Fine. If Southgate goes to Palace, then they can look forward to playing football in the Championship. Love it. So look, let's talk about the game, right? Positive start. Look, we started well, but it reminded me of the games that we started at the start of the season. We started well. Look, what we do really well is we retain the ball. We retained the ball well. We did those little passes round the corner. We did the little and a pro title from you bastards. We do that well, but we're set up to counter attack. And the one thing that I don't understand about this team is Carrick has set them up in their positions. Carrick has set this team up as counter-attack, okay? Even if Carrick has set these players up as counter-attack, why can't these players know they can't play against a low block? What is the point in trying to pass the ball through a low block? We can't do it. We absolutely cannot do it. So why continue passing the ball through the middle? Now, look, I'll give Carrick the benefit of the doubt here. I'm probably saying I think Carrick wants them to get the ball wide, but we've got no width. Luke Shaw provides zero width. He provides no width at all. We kept playing through the middle. Now, one of our strengths has been keeping the ball. But the moment we can't do that, the passes were sloppy. And this was so typical of the season that we've had, is that we start off well and then we invite the pressure. Everton are a low block team. Towards the end, they were putting in corner. Like they were doing to us what we should be doing to them. We were then the low block team. And they showed how you deal with a low block team. You put balls into the box, you get corners, and they grew into the game. And the first half was very, very turgid, was really, really boring. I didn't think Casemiro was particularly great. Bruno Fernandez with no time and space. He's one of the most ineffective players. Luke Shaw, non-existent. Adalo, I thought he started off bright, but then he faded. I thought that Maguire at the very end, I thought dealt with it fantastically well. Euro for me, I don't know. I think in some parts I thought he had a good game. In different parts, I just think he just looked off of the pace. And I think that's probably how I would sum up the game today. Off the pace. 2 weeks off, pretty much. And we look leggy. We look tired. Look, I know having 2 games a week gets you more consistency. But there is no excuse for that performance today. There is no excuse for not running your... There is no excuse for not running. There is no excuse for not giving your all. Like the Toffees were first to the ball. They were first to the ball. Every single ball. First to the ball. And I think the fundamental thing that we lacked today was a focal point. You could see we were set up to counter-attack. The way that there was nobody in that box, everybody came to the ball. There was nobody in the box to disrupt the play. Chesco is 6'4". He would ask questions, and defenders. He's such an awkward player. Chesco is so awkward. He is deceptively quick, but he's very very tall. And I think you put crosses into the box, and I think he asks a question. I think what you need, or what we need to do today, is have the ability to break. Because look, we showed today we have the ability to counter-attack and break with a Chesco on the pitch. We've got that. But also, you can put crosses into the box. So you put Chesco into the box, and not only can you counter, but you can also put crosses into the box. So this is why I think Carrick today was from a tactical perspective very, very naive, because I think Chesco gives you two things. He gives you the ability to counter, which he showed today, and he is quick, but he also gives you the opportunity to put balls into the box. So I think we missed out on that. Ahmad looks like a player who just tries, and I like him. I've liked him all season. I think he gives you shit. Cunha did have the best game today, but Cunha just continues. Cunha just cares, and those are the players that you want. In Bumo as well today, I thought he was very, very ineffective. I don't know whether or not he's injured, but I thought it was another ineffective game. I think he's better when you've got an open team to play against. So look, and then I thought the Mazraoui coming on, taking off Cunha, I thought was very, very too defensive. I understand why he did, but that just invited pressure. I missed the match thanks to work. How was it? Also a nice shirt. Can the guy go to the barber now? Switch. It was awful, mate. It was an awful game. There is no point trying to hide it. Look, we won the game, but it wasn't great. It was very much a display of what we've seen the first half of the season. So let me go through the chat, and then we can score the players. Let's have a little look. Declan says the way I'd handle the onslaught of corners showed a maturity. There is no panic, no wide clearances into the dangerous areas, no scrambling chaos. The line held firm and the marking was disciplined. What I can see from today is there's going to be a long, hard grind. I agree with you. Sam says winning away at Everton is not easy for us to take the win and on to net. No, Sam. And I think, Sam, you are spot on. We've gone for the game because we've got to go for the game. But Sam, I think ultimately, Sam, I think that's right, mate. I do. It's baffling. None of us doubt they're individually talented, but why can't we adapt to multiple styles of play? No width, no pace, no fight. That one dimension makes us predictable. Agreed, the lack of width was a worry again tonight. Dorgu has been a big miss in the system. Need to be more expansive in a low block. We had 2 weeks from our last games. We should have been refreshed and ready to go, but we played as though we had a stag night. Sometimes longer breaks can make you rusty. I'm annoyed we played shit today, but I'm glad we won. Some good news at least. Our players sunning themselves. Everton working hard on the training ground, and we were lucky. Chesco should have started, not keeping him on the bench. Liam says we need to start floating the ball in to Chesco. His leap is insane. Ahmed reminds me of Goodison Park, runs and runs, always looking to make something happen. Can the guy? I don't care about him. Maybe Chesco could have started instead of in Boomer. I do agree. Sloppy game, but it's a win. In short, it was crap. I love hearing United streamer saying they played bad and won. But it's true. But it's true. Like, toxic. Do you want me to say? Do you want me to lie and say we played well and won? Like, I don't quite understand. We won, but we played shit. Like, I don't understand. I don't. I love toxic. I love people who come on and talk shit. I mean, I love people who come on and just talk utter shit. You can play badly and win. Look at the Gunners. Like, they play shit and they still win games. Let's have a little look. Galatasaray, Steve. Football says yes, you played bad today, but we won and 3 points. And look, and that is so true tonight. So look, let's go through the scores tonight, and I think we may differ on scores. So get in your scores tonight. Lammens for me, easy peasy all day long. Look, I'll give him an 8 tonight. Lammens for me, the man of the match. And look, you don't have to make a worldy save to I hate Chelsea fans. Thanks, mate. Lammens to Luke Shaw was 10 easy. Lammens was an 8. Commanding, steady, present. I don't disagree with an 8.5. I mean, those corners, right? Those corners were fucking horrendous tonight, right? Those corners were horrible. A lesser keeper would have crumbled. And bearing in mind, he's only been in this league for what? 5 months? He's come from the Belgian league and he's already doing that halfway through a season. Absolutely fantastic. Luke Shaw for me today, 5. I'll argue a 4.5 today, 5. Luke Shaw today for me was awful. I think Luke Shaw is a limited play. Look, Luke Shaw, he's played every game this season. I've got to give him credit. We don't have another option. You could argue Mazraoui could play there. Look, Luke Shaw this season, Luke Shaw needs to go. Today, Luke Shaw was it was a bad game from Luke Shaw today. And I think 4.5, 4, 5. Maguire, I actually think Maguire, I think Maguire today, I'm going to give him a 7 today. And the reason why, that second half, those balls into the box, I think he's very, very calming. He wins his headers. He's a very, very limited player now. But when you play a low block and you don't have to defend high, Maguire is perfect. He's tall. He wins his headers. So look, I think Maguire, you could argue 6.5, a 7. I just think for me, those corners towards the end, the crosses into the box, I think you're right. I think Maguire 6.5, a 7 tonight. I just think solid, dependable. A Euro for me tonight, I find it difficult. He just looks like he's off of the pace. I mean, I don't want to be too harsh. I think you could range him anywhere from 5 to 6.5. I mean, I would go Euro for me tonight, 6. He's come back. I think he needs more time, but it's different. I find him tonight. I find scoring him tonight really, really hard. I do, because in patches he looked great, in other patches not. So look, I would give him. It's difficult. It's difficult. So I think I'd probably give him a 6 tonight. I think I would. You could probably argue a 5.5, 6. 6 being an average performance tonight. Look, he put in a shift. He's not played. He's come in. He's put in a shift. He's not conceded a goal. So I think for that, I'd have to give him a 6. Dalot tonight. Look, I thought Dalot started off bright. Ame says still young. I don't disagree with that. Dalot, always seems to play his teammates in to danger, and Liam, I think it's because he doesn't play a lot, and he's still young. I think what's so sad about him is that when he came in the first season, he looked immaculate. I thought he looked amazing. I don't know what it is this season, but confidence-wise, he just looks shot. Exactly. Divided on him. Adalo, for me, I thought he started off well. I do. And then I think you're right. He's got the touch of Luke Shaw's about him. He just disappears. I think he's a limited play, but again, I think him and Shaw on those sides are pretty much the same thing. Look, he does look to get forward. I think he tries his hardest, but for me, a 5.5. I think he's a 5.5. I thought Casemiro today had an awful game. I thought Casemiro today was absolutely dreadful today. I think he was dreadful. Sloppy passes. He gave the ball away. I don't know. It looked like today Dallow's got the touch of P. Diddy. Dallow, the invisible man tonight. Who would you prefer, Dallow or Butner? Bloody hell. I don't know. Because Butner was awful. That's a good question. Butner, amazing. Shaw started the Cunha pass to Mbeumo. Yeah, but just because somebody starts a pass, but Shaw started the pass, but Cunha put in the book, Shaw started the Cunha pass. I sub, thank you, Toxic. I do appreciate it. Casemiro at a 3.54. Euro looks, he does. JB, I agree with you. Casemiro was picking up a paycheck, turned up 5 and fucked off. Tellez, yeah. So have a look. Dallow is a hard worker, likewise Shaw, but I reckon we need better players in those positions. And I agree with you. I think that's a fair assessment. Casemiro today, I thought, was absolutely awful tonight. I'd give him a 4.5. I think 4 is a bit too. I think 4 is a bit too low for me. I would probably give him a 4.5 tonight. I thought he was awful. Mainu, not the game for Mainu either. I didn't think he was particularly good. Mainu, the one thing that annoyed me, and it's not necessarily him, playing through the middle against a low block. You need Kobe Mainu's to run through the middle. He's very, very good with the ball at his feet. But when you're playing against a low block and you're trying to get through 4 or 5 players, it's just not going to work. Today just wasn't his game. You get games where it's just not your day. Doesn't mean that Mainu is a bad player. It just today wasn't his game. It just didn't suit his game today. It needed I think, more of a defensive ball winner. Mainu isn't that. Mainu is a very good with the ball at his feet. Mainu is still a fantastic player. Just wasn't his day today. So for me, I've got to be fair. Now, Mainu's getting a run in this side. I think Mainu today, again, I think a 5.55. I think it was a below average performance. I don't think it was all his fault. He is in that position. He's learning. I think a 5.5. Bruno Fernandez today. Bruno Fernandez today. First half, I thought he was non-existent. I think Bruno Fernandez struggles when there's no space. I will say Bruno Fernandez does always look for the ball. It's just whether or not he can do anything with it. And all I'm going to say is this. Bruno Fernandez is a very, very divisive player. Bruno wasn't at it tonight. Ballon d'Or, and look, I've seen clips of this, and I'm not going to mention the biggest channel. I saw a certain person on the biggest one talking about Bruno Fernandez being back. Bruno Fernandez is our star player. Bruno Fernandez for Ballon d'Or. Bruno Fernandez for Player of the Season. Wanker. Fuck off with your fucking bullshit spin, because Bruno Fernandez is not that. Bruno Fernandez on his day, and this for me sums it up. Bruno Fernandez, Mr. on his day. Bruno Fernandez, when he can be bothered to turn up. Bruno Fernandez, when his arms are not flying up in the air. And we've seen this time and time again this season. And look, you can get your 12 assists and you can stick them up your arse. Because the reason why Bruno gets so many assists is because the ball has to go to him. Now he's back in that 10. He will have a fucking fit if the ball doesn't come to him. So you can take your 12 assists and people can shove those 12 assists up their arse. Because Bruno Fernandez, for me, is not a captain. I don't give a shit. He is not a captain. We didn't see a captain's performance tonight. And yes, Bruno Fernandez in the odd game is world class. And he does the odd world class thing. But I've had enough. I've had enough of Bruno Fernandez. The focus is on him. We need to transition away from Bruno Fernandez. He is and has been a fantastic player for this club. But for us to move forward as a club, this rhetoric and this debate that who is going to provide the assists and those goals. Find someone. Like, they're going to have to do it. Bruno Fernandez is not Benjamin. He is not the button guy. He's not gonna suddenly reverse age. Bruno is getting worse and worse. Like, Bruno is getting worse. He's not a captain. I thought today's performance as a captain was shit. It's not for me. It's not for me. So look, Bruno Fernandez, I know people love him. I get it. I really do. He's not for me. Bruno Fernandez right now is like a Marmite. Right? You either like him or you don't. I don't like him. I appreciate the player. I appreciate the talent. but he's not for me. And I've had enough of Bruno Fernandez. I have not changed my opinion on him the whole season. It's time for him to go. And look, people will agree, disagree, but I've not flip-flopped on this opinion, and I will die on this opinion, the same as Amorim died on his hill because he chose to keep him. Bruno Fernandes for me has to go. And a 4 for me. Bruno Fernandes for me is a 4 tonight. Ahmad tonight for me. Ahmad, look, he can't get a 7. Do I think I would give Ahmad a 6.5 tonight? You could argue a 7. I would give him 6.5 to a 7. And you're right. When you compare it to Bruno Fernandes, 7.5, right? So I think Ahmad would, to be fair, probably a 7. Ahmad, I like Ahmad. He's such an underrated. I wanna retract. I'd go 7, but I would go 6.5 to a 7. I think that Ahmad, I love Ahmad. I've rated him all season. I think he's a fantastic player. I think he's a very, very underrated player. I think he's fantastic. I do, and I think he should be up for the player of the season. Liam says thoughts on the Cunha reaction to Ghana at the end. I love it. I love it. I love it, and that is what we need. That is what we need. We need performances. I love it. Cunha's reaction at the very end was brilliant. I love it. Cunha tonight, look, Cunha tonight, I think you could argue for the goal, for the assist, the bit at the end. I think Chesco, I think Cunha always tries. I think he's always tried to be progressive. Sometimes it's not his game. I think Bruno Fernandez hurts his game. I do. So I would give Cunha tonight, I think you could argue 6.5. I think Cunha is probably a 6 tonight. I think it was an average performance. I think with touches of some good stuff. I would probably say, I think I'd probably bump him up to a 6.5. I think it was just an above average performance. I think when you take into account some of the bits and bobs that he did, I thought he was effective in some parts of the game. So I think for me, I'd give him 6.5. In Bumo tonight, I think he's got an injury of some kind. Amir says hi, hello, Amir. I would give in Bumo tonight 5.5. I think he's injured, or I think he's carrying something. Scott says a 6. I think a 5.56. I think you could argue a 5.56. Do I think it was an average performance? You could argue that. I just think he always works hard, and I think that is, yeah. I do agree with you. So I'd go a 5.56. Chesco. We all asked for Chesco. The thumbnail that we put on there was Unleash Chesco. We all said this. All of us on here pretty much said you've got to play a Chesco. The good thing for me on this channel, and for many of you guys, we've all been saying this all season, right? People were calling Chesco a flop. Many of us on here, including me, were saying give Chesco time. he will come into this league and he's going to take time to settle. Is he perfect? No. Chesco did what he was supposed to do again. He came on and he did the business. So for me, look, if Lammens, I'm going to up a Lammens to an 8.5. And I think you could look, Chesco has to be an 8.5 tonight, because without Chesco tonight, we don't score. So, I think as much as Lammens in goal is a revelation, I think he's amazing. Chesco is becoming that player up top. I think Chesco is now becoming that player that is going to score you goals. So I think at the both ends of the pitch now, we've got a Chesco that has taken his time. So I would give Chesco an 8.5. And look, you guys can choose, but for me, Lammens has to be the man of the match. And the reason why I say it is because as much as Chesco scored a fantastic goal, cool as you like, brilliant, Lammens for me played the whole game. Those corners at the very end as well, he commanded his box. He made some fantastic saves. The saves that he makes are worth a goal as well. So I just think, for me, Lammens, I think, is the man of the match for me. But you could argue Chesco as well. So Lammens is an absolute, he's a beast. I love him. So let me get through the chats before I go. Let's have a little look. I'm sure Bruno Fernandez is going to feature high up on this list. Have a little look. I think we've done that. He's the same person that came out with the world as a knowing Bruno is more like turkey teeth. Boris says, hello Boris. 100% Bruno isn't a great captain, but I do feel we have to replace him. Liam says 7. There's no better somebody than Bruno. Look, Boris, mate, I absolutely respect the opinion. I am not dismissing anybody's opinion on Bruno Fernandez. I think he's a very, very divisive player. I think if you're of a certain age group, I think you've seen better players. Bruno Fernandez, I have no problem. I have a different opinion to many of you guys, and I'm not going to dismiss your view. I think, for me, Bruno Fernandez has had his time. I think he's been a wonderful player. There are certain things that only he can do, and they are at times world class, but we don't see it enough. Someone says, tonight, had Bruno been a red Indian cluster, would still be alive. He's just out of it tonight. Time for a new captain. I'm afraid that's my opinion. Now, I agree with you. I take the money and reinvest. He's 32. I think he is. We should try and get Cole Palmer to replace Fernandez, in my opinion. Time to go. Bruno, pay him off and let's go. I'll take Palmer. Ahmad was very impressive compared to Bruno. I'm not going to even rate Bruno tonight. Chesco, 6.57. Chesco, 8.5. Palmer was a United fan, and I reckon he has what it takes. Palmer, 100%. But how does the team line up with Ahmad, Mbeumo, Cunha, Chesco, Palmer play in the middle? Thoughts on Cunha reaction? Craig, I'm doing well. Bruno is a legend. I love that United is throwing him in the fire because he was there with CR7. And look, Bruno Fernandez, we're going to have to replace him at some point. When I say replace him, I don't want a Bruno Fernandez. I don't want Bruno Fernandez FC. What I want is a team full of players. I don't want one player commanding this whole team in terms of everything has to go through Bruno. No. All of the best teams that win leagues and titles, and this is what I don't get about this fan base that really annoys me. If you look at the best teams that win Champions Leagues and leagues, they don't focus around one player. PSG, Mbappe, as soon as he fucked off, they won the Champions League because Enrique went in there and created a team. Arsenal are not a one-man band. They are a team. City are not a one-man band. They're a team. Aston Villa in third. They're a team. Bayern, I know Harry Kane scores goals, but they are a team. Why is this club and our fans so obsessed with one player? Bruno Fernandez runs this team. Bruno Fernandez. This is the Bruno Fernandez team. Why are people so shit scared for Bruno Fernandez to fuck off? Because once he goes, we will have to have a team. And whilst he is here, Bruno Fernandez is not Mbappe. Bruno Fernandez is not Haaland. He was, but Bruno Fernandez can't just be the team. He can't be. And if you want to win a Champions League, Bruno Fernandez has to go because we need a team. We need to get rid of the individual runner of this team. And what I mean is the guy that runs this team. He needs to go, and you create a team. If you look at the winning teams, they create a team, and we are not a team. We're a team of individual players, and Bruno Fernandez is the epitome of that. He is not a team player. He's not. Cunha gave his all. I do agree. I'm still here. Just got the stream playing on the phone. I'm not paying too much attention. My boy Chesco scored, but how is our performance switch? That Chesco, fantastic player. He's lively. He's so difficult. He's all arms and legs. He's such a difficult player to. He really is. Cunha could take up the Bruno role behind the striker and then invest in a new attacking midfielder on the left-hand side. My PL team is called I'm Too Chesco for my shirt. It's I love it, mate. It's fantastic. I've seen people call Chesco shit. Me, JB, I've backed him from the start. Exactly. No arguments on Lammens outstanding. In Boomer did pick up a blow tonight, hence the sub. Much better than Nana. Sending a breath of fresh air. I dare you to get a haircut after United wins. No. The reason why Shield and I'm not, and this is not a dig at you, by the way. The reason why I wouldn't get the reason why I wouldn't cut my hair after 5 wins, or the reason why I wouldn't do something dumb, is because I'm not a narcissistic wanker who is trying to make United's terrible form about me. And mate, I'm not having a dig, the reason why I wouldn't create a thing on someone else's fucking misery is because, unlike the guy who's not gonna cut his hair, I'm not a narcissistic twat. Fuck football, I'm done after 35 years, says Mark Wright. JB tries to compliment Bruno challenge. I can't do it. Do you want to laugh? I just read on the BBC Football that United may get McTominay back. I say no. It's bollocks. It's total bollocks. It is total bollocks. Don't be daft. Look, Chris, mate, we're going to have to agree to disagree on this. Bruno Fernandez hasn't been good the whole season. Bruno Fernandez, I would counteract and say Bruno's been good for 2 or 3 games. That's it. That's it. 40 years of red and white tonight was horrific. I've seen worse in pre-Prem era. There were positives and there were 3 points, but shades of the first half of the season. Exactly, I do agree. McTominay looks good because of Serie A. I agree, don't let him back at the club. Everything went through Salah for years. Yeah, but... Yeah. True. But how many leagues did Liverpool win? They've won 2. So, as much as I do agree with you, but you look at the season Liverpool won the league first under Klopp. Firmino, Mane, Salah. Those goals were spread amongst that team. So I'm sorry. The reason why Liverpool won the title was because they had Mane, Salah, and Firmino. And Mbappe walks out. Dembele could win the Ballon d'Or. When Bruno is in his prime, he's a good leader and scoring goals. But tonight, the way he played, he can lead a 5-a-side team. We could have a Stevie Wonder on the pitch. Elise, I love. Elise Raz says, hello, mate. Elise, I love him. Bruno is not the Messiah. He's just someone past his sell-by date, and I want him gone. I generally hate the entire Celtic team and the management, the board. United fans are so lucky to have a board that spends money and players and staff that give a toss. Or it says one United. We can't have a bald JB. His hair makes him look more glorious, mate. If I shave my head, I've got a weird shaped head. I am the sort of person that if I was to shave my head, I would look like an idiot. There are some people that can get away with it. There are some people that look good with a shaved head. I'm not one of those people. So if I was to shave my head, I would look like a right idiot. And thank you, Switch. Christian says, you up United. I love this club. Forget bringing any loan players back. JB, get in there with the hair loss. He's pushing up daisies. Thanks, mate. XD legend. Evening, JB. How was the game? The only thing I saw from the stats is it seemed like Everton played great Harron ball. We weren't great. XD. There is no way. There is no way that I can spin it any more than I can. We weren't great tonight, but we won. And I think the greatest compliment that I can give was Lammens is a fantastic player, and Chesco scored. So, Salah had Mane, Firmino, exactly, Switch, exactly. Okay, guys, I'm off. Great stream as always. Sloppy game, 3 points, 4th place, and clean sheet tonight. Have a good night all, and good Tuesday. Simon, legend. Let's have a little look. Antonia says hi. Arbo says hi. Paul Jones says, let's just hope we do as well as we possibly can with these players. I don't trust any of them. Take my hat off to Carrick so far, but we'll run out of steam eventually. Please get the correct manager. Mate, I couldn't agree with you more. Paul, it's like you were inside of my head. Paul, I agree with you, mate. I think, Paul, I think you have summed it up perfectly well. We're the best. Good night, Scott. Good night. So look, guys, fantastic stream tonight. Look, I love the fact that we get through the games together. It hasn't been a pretty season so far. Who do we have next? It's I don't know. let's have a look. Crystal Palace. So we've got Crystal Palace. So we've got Palace at home, Newcastle away, and Villa. So it's going to be a tough game. So look, guys, brilliant stream. Look, I'm so glad that we get to watch the games together. If we get into the Champions League, right, we know we've done this together. We've absolutely gone through this together. So if we get to the Champions League, I can't wait to stream the Champions League games. So hopefully that will happen. So look, guys, thank you for being on the watch along. Thank you for being on this as well. I'll never get bored of saying this. You guys are legends. You know that this channel doesn't exist without you guys. You guys are just absolutely amazing, and I can only thank you, mate, for just legendary stuff. The mods as well, yeah, you guys are fantastic as well. So look, I will be back tomorrow. I think I'll be back tomorrow. I don't just stream it every single day. I might be back tomorrow. I think I'll be back tomorrow. But I will let you guys know in the community tab. So look, guys, a win is a win is a win, as was said in the chat. Move on. Move on to the next one. The table is looking good. We're winning. Long may it continue. So look, guys, have a good rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. You guys are absolute legends. What pivot? Do you want me to say pivot, Scott? Look, you guys are legends. Absolute amazing. So I will be back tomorrow. I'm JB. This is the United Devil channel, and see you tomorrow, legends. Take care.